Hello Maker Mentors and welcome back to Real World Digital, where it's our job to help you bring computer science, engineering, and maker skills to your family or classroom. Today we're going to be working on how to make this beautiful robotic platform. Super simple, basic, but has the power to be expanded into in a million different ways. So stick around and we'll figure out how to build this thing.
So we first get started off with a flat piece of foam core, fairly thin. So this stuff works just like cardboard, only tends to be very, very much more flat and a little bit less flimsy. So I prefer using foam core over cardboard, but if cardboard's what you got, it'll work perfectly fine. Heck, you can even just take a bunch of printer paper and tape it all together. It'll be a bit more flimsy, but it'll work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut it down to size. I don't like having any jagged edges. I kind of like it looking a bit more rectangular. So I'm using just a normal either X-Acto knife or box cutter. And basically you're going to need to use 2 or 3 swipes in order to get this thing to break off nicely. If you're having your kids do this, I suggest having them wear a cut-proof glove. You can get them on Amazon fairly cheap. I'll have a link in the description, and I'll also have links to all of the things that you're seeing me use in this tutorial in the description, so do check that out. Those are, full disclosure, those are affiliate links, so if you want to help support the channel and have us be able to make even more cool projects, then feel free to follow those Amazon links. If not, just look up foam core and cut-proof gloves. Cool. Now in order to put everything together, we're going to use Gorilla mounting tape. This is just something I like because it's a little easy to take off afterwards. And then these DC motors. These are geared motors that are accessed off at 90 degrees to the side. Just makes it easier to mount them. And we're also going to need an Arduino to power this. It's a little overkill for what we're doing today, but that means that we can program it later in the future and it'll work just the same. So let's go ahead, attach these motors. Peel off the adhesive strip, put it on the motor. I like to put it so that the wires from the motor are all facing inside the robot. So you'll see when I attach this now, any minute now. If you guys also have problems taking this little plastic things off of like double-sided tape, let me know in the comments. I've been doing this for years and I still am just really bad at removing those little plastic strips. So you'll notice also that I'm putting the DC motor as close to the edge as I can without it overlapping over the edge. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the second motor. The reason why I'm putting it so close to the edge is because we're going to have wheels attached to them. And if the wheels are too close to the edge, they'll end up getting caught up and snagging on the edge of our foam board. And that's not good. It'll just cause our motors to heat up and for the robot to move kind of weirdly. And that's not great. We also want to make sure that we're putting these motors on straight as possible so that the robot doesn't start turning when we don't want it to. It is advised that you hold these things down for about a minute. I recommend longer. Alright, so now we're going to mount the Arduino. I like putting the Arduino so I can put the little port at the end. It makes it really easy to plug in the USB cord or the power cable later on if you want to code it. So just as a convenience thing, you can put wherever you want though, so I won't worry too much about it. Seriously, this struggle is real. Why won't it come off? Great success. Alright, so let's mount this thing. Again, close to the edge, but not over it. I will have the little USB port poking out over it. Just, again, makes it easier to mount. So, This is the breadboard. Cool thing about the breadboard, it has its own adhesive backing. So all you have to do is just peel that little yellow paper and then stick it wherever you want. It can be moved if you stick it in the wrong place, but as you can see, it's a little bit rough to try and move. You have to really kind of jam it out and then it'll work. The reason why we're using Gorilla strips for most of these things is so that we can reuse the components. If you're using this in a classroom setting, you're going to have to reuse all these components a bunch of times. So the Gorilla strips work out. So now we're going to plug in the motors. All you have to know about the breadboard, we'll go into this more later, is just plug the red wire into the red strip and the black wire into the blue strip. All of the column of things next to the red are all connected, and all of the pins next to the blue are all connected as well. So now we're going to connect the Arduino to the breadboard, which in turn is connected to the motors. So we have a dark wire and a red wire. It doesn't really matter the color, but it helps you know which wire goes to what. There are two things on the Arduino I'm looking for. The first is ground, GND. So that is the negative end of a battery. So once I find GND, I'm gonna stick that in there, and then I'm going to plug that into over by the blue column on the breadboard. Now with this guy, I'm going to plug that into V in, voltage in, or 5 volts. It's up to you. If you plug it into VN, it'll go a little bit faster because it'll be getting 9 volts as opposed to just 5 regulated volts. Again, we'll go into more of that a little bit later.
So here we are now in the lab. We added a couple of pieces. First off, we've got this guy, battery with a super convenient connector directly on it. So that helps us, right? Next, we have two wheels. These wheels connect directly onto these things, so they'll work perfectly every time. Super simple. So we'll attach these wheels, pressing on them like that. Attach this wheel, like pressing it on it like this. And ta-da, we have a robot. So all I should have to do is plug this guy in. Sweet. I'm gonna call him Scorpion. Now this guy spun in a circle. The reason why he spun in a circle is because all of the red wires are connected together. However, if we notice, the motors are pointed in the opposite direction. So both of them are spinning in their own way, causing them to go circular. If I swap the red and black wires on this side, like that, and now plug it in again, pretty easy, pretty simple. That's all there is to it. Next time we're going to work on this and we're going to make it so it's actually programmable. So we can turn it left, we can turn it right, we can make it go forward and backwards, and we can choose the speed that we want that to go at as well. So if you like this project, please do hit the like button and subscribe, hitting the bell notification so that you can be notified whenever we post any new project videos. We're currently working on a couple of different projects, everything from making robots that you can program to making virtual reality games, all sorts of stuff. So with that, thank you very much, and hope to see you in the next video.